This is the Village of Vernon Hills Planning and Zoning Commission. We need to start with a roll call.
Commissioners Conton, Hesner,
Here.
Heidner,
Here.
Mulcrone, Gorig,
Here.
Chairman Morris.
Yes.
You have a quorum.
Okay. This evening, we have a public hearing case 2103. It's an application for approval of a special use permit to allow an arcade for electronic games to be known as, is it BHOP or Bhop Esports? Bhop Esports at 122 Hawthorne Center, Unit 532, Vernon Hills. So we'd ask is, are you going to speak or alone or both of you?
Just me.
Just moral support?
That's
All
my
right.
wife, Christy.
Okay. Thank you. So we ask you if you can raise your right hand and swear or affirm that this testimony you're about to give before this commission of the Village of Vernon Hills shall be the truth.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, you are on.
Perfect. Thank you guys for having me. This has been kind of like a lifelong dream, I guess. I'm from Vernon Hills, formerly 600 Avon Court. Went to Hawthorne Middle South and then graduated from VHHS class of 2011. Went on to go to University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, studied music education, taught music for the past 10 years or so. But towards the end, I actually went back to school to get a business degree. And I actually went to that store on a full esports scholarship. So I was paid to be part of their esports varsity program. And I got the privilege to kind of tour the world on weekends and just play at international tournaments. That's me up there in front of about 24,000 people watching. It's just this crazy experience that I never thought I would kind of experience. So coming, after my varsity esports experience and my business experience now, I was like, how does this all lead up to? What is this all leading up to? And, having worked with kids for 10 years and been in an esports world, I feel like this day and age, kids are very much into esports, into video games, and it's a very social thing for them. And I just want to bring something like that back here to especially Vernon Hills, where there's a lot of kids here, and all of them are kind of looking for some social aspect to hang out together again, safe place to gather and play games together. So what you see here is Bhop Esports. The sign is already on the store and everything. So that's what it kind of looks like. But yeah, let me talk to you guys a little bit about the store. So there isn't any construction involved. It's just a repurposing of the space. Just moving in a lot of furniture, a lot of computers, consoles like Xboxes, PlayStations, VR headsets. And of course, a lot of tables and chairs for kids to be able to sit down, after school, maybe do some homework, hang out with their friends, or a place where, parents come by, drop off the kid, go shop around a little, and then come back and pick them up, something like that. So that's what it kind of looks like. Esports is obviously the new big thing, big wave. A lot of local schools and park districts support esports and how it's very inclusive. Traditional sports exclude, physically handicapped students, while esports kind of include everyone. It has a greater outreach. These pictures that you see are local students playing on a Nintendo Switch. So they're interacting with each other, they're having fun. And of course, on the right, you see students creating their very first esports club at their middle school, something that they're very passionate about. They want to do it. So, of course, it's very grassroots. Local esports gaming business today kind of look like that. We have Ignite Gaming Lounge on the bottom. That is in Skokie. And also the original one is in Chicago on Elston. But the Skokie one is a recent addition to Ignite. It's like a $2 million facility, and the village of Skokie actually gave them a technology grant of $150,000 for them to be there, which is super cool. Up there, Walmart has tried to hop on this esports train. So up at the front where you usually get your prescription checked or your glasses, they actually took those stuff out, put in computers, put in consoles, and as I can see, it's a great place for people to come, socialize. Very much a lot of buzz around esports today. Bhop Esports is partnered with Next College Student Athlete. which is the #1 collegiate recruiting service in the U.S. Now they have an esports division, and I just so happen to know the guy who runs that department, and he will be actually in store scouting out different recruits, telling parents and kids about college. Maybe for some of these kids, it wasn't on the radar to go to college, but they play a lot of video games. Well, you can get a scholarship now to go play video games for college. So with this, how for traditional sports, it's a very, very big thing when like a recruit from a big college comes to scout you at a football game, at a basketball game, or something like that, right? And it's huge for the student, once in a lifetime experience, opportunity. Well, he's going to be there 24/7. So we're really making sure that the kids get the information that they need, all the database, connect them to the right programs, and be able to have them successful careers beyond just college. So esports programs that are in the Illinois area are listed there. We have DePaul University, University of Chicago, UIUC, UIC, Roosevelt, and of course RMU, where I went. They've been building their own esports arenas, hiring coaches. It's a big thing. It's here to stay, and it's a huge experience for kids who aren't into traditional sports to also learn the benefits of camaraderie, teamwork, how to win together, how to lose together, and things of that sort. And that's a little bit more of my background. So yeah, if you guys have questions, I'll have to answer them, feedback.
Oh, this is just for a special use permit?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a minimum age you have?
So the minimum age where you can be in a store by yourself without a guardian is 13. That's usually where how games are rated as well. But anything younger than that, we ask that a legal guardian or a sibling be in the store with them too, older sibling.
And how do you intend to administer that?
So when you go into the store, you'll be making accounts, and so that's where we do a lot of collection, age, email, just kind of accountability. So when ages show up, like we ask that their parent guardians are present when the age just doesn't reach 13. Yeah. So right when you enter, you make that count, and we make the administrative.
Do you identify them like with a bracelet or something to know that they need a guardian with them?
Yes, yeah, we can definitely do that. I have actually bought bracelets for the people who have day passes, who will keep extra eye on things like that. So we have cameras everywhere. Security, mall security is great, but extra measures can be taken. Yeah.
I must have been living in a cave. This is amazing.
And you are serving some food, but not food that's competitive with your neighbors, is that correct?
Yeah, so only pre-packaged food, so chips, snacks, sodas, drinks, and then I was thinking, some cup ramen maybe, but since we have the food court that's right outside the door, it's like we don't really need to necessarily serve more food.
Could you go back to your floor plan again?
Yes, yep, let me go back here.
And where would that area be?
So it'll be inside the front desk. There's that big square that's in the middle. We'll keep all the snacks behind there.
And can they take that to the workstations areas? I mean, with the computers and that?
Yes, yeah. Anything sold within the store can be taken anywhere, but I don't think we're going to allow outside food to be brought in. Yeah.
So if they buy it outside, they have to consume it outside?
Yeah, and there's a wonderful food court out there. So Hawthorne has been doing some good work there. Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
I think it's about time. I think this is great for the mall. I think it's something new. It's something that people are going to gravitate to. They're going to want to watch. Some people are going to really want to come in and just kind of experience it because they won't necessarily know what it is. Mm-hmm. Like myself, I haven't necessarily witnessed it. I've seen, of course, people playing games, but I haven't seen it in this capacity. Mm. So I think it's very interesting, and I'm I'm glad you're doing this.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great success.
Thank you.
Too.
So to address what he just said, does he pay a fee to go in and watch, or is he just there for?
So this will be kind of, we'll see what happens, play as we go along, because if there are too many people that show up, then you have to kind of pay to get in. But if the stores, allows it, there's enough capacity, then we'll welcome those who want to just watch to
Curious.
come in. Yeah.
So are there going to be potential competitions at this location?
Yeah, so there's going to be tournaments and events. Since this is the only one, of all the different subdivisions that are around here, like people from Buffalo Grove, Libertyville, Mundelein, like they're all going to want to come here, Lake Forest, to see what this is about. And of course, when we have competitions, it will be through the high school esports league. So basically, each school has their own esports teams now, and we're able to have conference tournaments right here within the store. Something that a space that all these different schools don't have. They will want to come and play here and compete here.
Will you be putting in, I was gonna go down the competitive event too. Are you gonna have like seating where, just like any,
I saw one floor plan that did have,
Yeah.
viewing on a big screen.
Yes, yeah. So this is a little bit outdated. There's been a lot of different revisions, and this one was from the previous board meeting.
In our packet.
Yes,
That's the-
yeah,
that
that
more
is,
recent one?
yeah, that's the one.
Seeing it.
Yeah, perfect.
oh, there you go. Where are the bleachers gonna go? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
No,
so
if you have seating and then, you can, if you're gonna have competitive events,
Well, so, yeah.
go ahead. I have another question leading down this path, but
Well,
I interrupted you. Yeah.
I've seen it actually on TV, where they've had these
Yeah.
competitions and they've had quite a group of people watching it occur.
Will this ever have a competitive event where there would be a, take away the schools now, sort of a cash, you play your way in, professional type thing, where like, I don't know, poker, where you win and you win $20,000?
yeah, so what usually happens for like amateur events is basically when you enter, you pay a venue fee and a buy-in fee.
Okay.
And the buy-in fee goes towards like the prize pot, and then the payout is like the top 3 players receive that. And then if there's sponsorships involved, say Red Bull wants to come in, run a tournament, run an event, then they'll add to that prize pool. And then there's also crowd-funded tournaments where the people that are watching can actually contribute to the prize pool in support of the local players, and then they get a cut of that too.
So when
Does
you,
there
when you
ever
have,
licensing from the village?
No, we actually had our village attorney look at it. You don't put a coin, the way our licensing
excuse me, I should say.
the way our licensing regulations are set up, it's not a device that you put a quarter into and play.
Not so much that, but if you have a tournament with like cash prizes and things like that, does that require permitting or licensing as an amusement tax or something?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
When you have, now we'll go back to the high schools.
Yep.
This is kind of really interesting. So will you be streaming this? If you've got high schools in competition, is there a way to stream it so that if people can watch it, parents can watch it on their computers at work or something?
Yes, yeah. So all the games will be broadcasted on Twitch.tv or YouTube Live or Facebook Gaming. There's all these platforms and areas now that allow for that.
Is your space big enough?
That's fingers crossed. Hopefully it's a success. This is my first business. I'm just starting out, I'm learning a lot of different things. But for now, this is what I'm working with, and
It's very interesting.
The old Carson's is available, if you'd like that.
There's lots of other
Yes.
spaces in the mall.
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
Maybe not for
Front of-
long.
The front of the site here, okay, on
Okay.
that picture you showed, it looks like the windows that may be for construction are blocked out. Are
It
you able to
is.
see in? during-
yeah. So once moving in
Right,
is
right.
done, we're gonna scrape it all off, and it's just be big glass windows. People all the way from the cafeteria can see in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there used to be a dance studio, which you're probably not enough to remember.
I did
that
not know
most of the
that.
time you couldn't see in, which never made sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be like an interesting thing in the mall to see.
This would,
And
I
this would
think
be
this
kinda
will
cool.
pique interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so is there any kind of concern over having enough bandwidth for everything that you want to do? You know, does the
Oh, that's
mall
a great
have it?
question.
Yeah, so they have AT&T fiber internet, and I did test it out. It's 1 gigabyte upload and 1 gigabyte download, so it's ample bandwidth.
With multiple users, it will be?
Yes, yeah. So what happens is we usually get most of the heavy downloading aspect overnight done, so that when people do come in, it's just like playing games. There's doesn't need to be like heavy downloading or things like that.
Is that feed from AT&T shared throughout the entire mall? Not that the rest of the mall is going to use a huge amount of bandwidth.
Oh, maybe.
Well, yeah, and again, I'm sure you are aware of this. And
Yes, yeah. So I did test it. It's about 960 on average on any given day. Yeah. So I've been there and I've been just running tests.
So if we see a van in the parking lot with a dish on top, that will be you connecting to a satellite when you run out of it.
Eventually, maybe when I have enough funds for that.
Well, I guess that these are all curious questions you're asking.
Yeah,
Because it's
welcome.
interesting.
interesting.
Well, yeah, it is. We don't know that much about it. The question is, when you have these stepped up events, these, collegiate or, professional or whatever it may be, even high school, I mean, I'm sure that would be it if you have a big event. When you increase your demand, it's not necessarily, do you always have that level of demand access to you, or would you have to change something to get that level of capacity to handle an event?
Right. So the beauty of esports and video games is that it happens in the virtual world. So if we do encounter those specific situations, what will happen is usually teams will have parents or close relatives that want to watch in person. And so those will be, obviously the VIP people. And the rest of the people that still want to watch can watch it online. It's not like anything that would limit them or prohibit them from participating. Sometimes it's even more I forget the word, but it's even more hands-on for the people that are watching from home, because platforms like Facebook Gaming, YouTube Live, and Twitch.tv have implemented a lot of different things like special emotes that you can do, different cheers that you can do in the chat, and participating in like the chat as the game is streaming is another great experience.
So is this online gaming then, or is it all downloaded and it's local? Because my gaming experience ended with Pong.
Yeah, so it's both, but there's obviously that social aspect of it, right? Being an esports athlete, when I'm sitting on stage in front of 24,000 people, the hard part isn't necessarily to play the game. The hard part is to handle the pressure of everyone that also plays the same game as you,
Right.
watching you play, make the right decisions, and perform and execute. So that is kind of like the draw of esports, so to speak. Yeah.
I bought an Xbox 4 months ago that did not end well. It's now with a relative.
Do people bring in their own equipment, like their own controllers and their own, things that they're used to using?
Yes, so a huge part of the business plan revolves around BYOC, bring your own controller or bring your own console. So I was thinking throughout the pandemic, a lot of people have the same systems, but for the hardcore people, they have customized controllers that have special decals on it. It's in the color that they want or the game that they like. And they're used to kind of like the nuances of their own controller. So when they bring it in, all they need to do is hook up their controller into the consoles that are already there and play against other people, right? And so we have this awesome, collage of different controllers and fight sticks, and people can check, each other's out and compare. And it's just like a fun, experience. A lot of people have started to build their own computers over the pandemic, but you're allowed to kind of bring those as well. I know Hawthorne Mall has like car meets every so often. So my store will kind of be like computer meets, different custom builds. Oh, how did you, build yours? A different processor, or a different graphics card, or a different case, or fans, or something like
Are you
that.
going into the retail business at all to sell these things?
Sell the controllers? I was gonna ask that same thing.
Controllers or the consoles or, the
Yeah,
components?
that's definitely in the works. For now, there'll be, Bhop Apparel, t-shirts, shirts, but we have keyboards, mouse, monitors, but those are kind of partnerships that we'll need to make after the store opens. Once they see that there's like a proof of concept, this thing's successful, then actually those big companies that want to have more presence will actually, seek opportunities here to sell their products. Yeah.
Because I have like no clue. What does this cost? Like, let's assume you want to engage in this,
This?
For an hour.
like for an hour. Is it by the hour? I don't even know.
Oh, to play games at the store okay. So the computers are $5 an hour or $16 for an all-day pass on the weekday.
Okay.
On the weekend is $7 an hour or $24 for the all-day pass. For bring your own controllers is $5 for the entire day. One, because you're bringing your own equipment, and two, you have to kind of take turns and play against each other in that way.
So how many can you have at one time?
That's, I think, up to the fire department to determine the occupancy.
we're-
I'm not sure.
Is more from a business perspective, if you charge people $24 for all day, what do you have, 20 people in there? You see where I'm going, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just kind of curious.
Are you asking for a break even or?
No, it just, I mean, do you think you'll have 50 people competing at one time in different areas of the store, or?
Yeah, so for the bring your own controller stations, there's actually two of them. One's for PlayStation and one's for Nintendo Switches. Those can go upwards of 50 plus on each, because the beauty of it is located in a mall. And when it's not your turn to play, not your round, you're out there, you're shopping, you're eating, and then once your turn comes, we switch, groups, different group comes in, they compete. And then once, the tournament gets to a top 8 scenario, then the 8 people will just be in the store, and everyone, it turns into kind of like a spectator.
So is there like a schedule of some sort that this game is played at this time and that's when you'd come?
Yes, yeah, so I've hired 7 different people, and they all specialize in tournament organizing. They've been doing this for years, but the main problem is there's no venue in the area that supports this kind of competition, this type of social interaction. So this is kind of like the reason why I thought, Bhop Esports, where should it be? Let's start with my hometown, let's bring it back. See what happens.
Do you have like the old people don't know how to do it? Time
Maybe,
of the day?
maybe a throwback night for
The
the
mall
mall
walkers, you're gonna have the mall walker special?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mall Walker special in the morning, starting at 8 a.m. No kids are up at 8 a.m.
Oh, God.
Yeah, a lot of cool things.
So, if everything goes through all of this process, when do you think you'll open? Because I'm kind of curious, because I want to go see.
Yeah, for sure. So at
Best
this
case scenario.
so at this point, I'm pretty much done setting up. So whenever I guess I get my permits, that's kind of like my question to you. I'm actually wondering when I can.
Yeah, well, it'll go to the P&Z's recommendation will go to the committee of the whole on June 1st. That's the next board meeting.
Okay.
And then formal approval on 2 weeks after that.
Okay.
And the permit he needs is just a certificate of occupancy permit because he didn't remodel. So we'll just inspect to make sure the existing conditions are safe to open. So it'll be the third week in June, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Okay. Third week of June.
I guess the only question I have that I can think of right now would be, with viruses that come in and out of places, I know that there's a lot of sophistication with this, but with people bringing in their own consoles or other equipment potentially, I mean, how do you combat that as an overall protection for the store?
Yeah, so when you bring in your own controller, that's basically the only controller you'll be using. You won't be touching other ones. So to safeguard against viruses, this is different from like what Ignite does, what Walmart does, is they have controllers that they provide for you. and you have to use theirs, right? And so if people are constantly sharing them, that's, a lot of contact, service to contact. But the difference here is when you bring your own stuff, you're working with your own stuff.
I'm
about
kind of
two
working.
different
yeah,
viruses.
Viruses.
I'm
Different
talking about
virus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
bad.
that's where I
I'm
thought
sorry.
you were going.
No, it's okay.
Okay. So I'm using a software called Senate. Basically, it turns the computers into like limited use kiosks. The ones that you find like at hotel lobbies where you can't really do much stuff on them. You can only like, print out documents and things like that. Well, there's special ones now made for esports lounges that have higher security, higher network security, and you only can play games on them. Yeah, it turns the computer into like a shell mode. You can't really do anything else except play games. Yeah.
And anything that's downloaded, you will do that.
Yes, yeah. So all of these computers are hooked up to the main computer, and then the main computer will be able to kind of download everything, send it out to all the computers, and then
Server, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then all the other computers, whatever they're doing, I know that internet safety is a big issue. Everything will be monitored from the main computer, live time.
Okay, so there's, like, you see this on TV, and I don't even know if this works, but can you, like, grab information wirelessly from other types of devices within your facility? Will that be able to, would that be a way someone would cheat or be able to know something about the game or whatever?
Uh-huh. So the biggest issue that I encountered in terms of cheating would be screen peeking. So literally turning and looking at in the opponent's screen and seeing what they're doing or where they are. So what I have done is I've actually made the computers face away from each other so that if anyone does decide to cheat, they literally have to turn, 180 to be able to see what's going on. And by that time, a coach or referee will, say that, hey, that's not allowed. But other than that, again, the shell program allows for greater security. You can't really hack, the computers unless you hack the provider's servers, which is out abroad somewhere.
It's away from the store.
Yeah, the main servers are the providers are from abroad. They're not here. Yeah, it's like a security company that I buy services from. Yeah.
Is this a franchised owned?
No, this is my own, but that's kind of like the direction I kind of want to take it in. 3 different malls have already contacted me saying that they want Bhop at their mall. And I told them, can you give me like 2 years maybe? They're like, okay.
Or 6 months.
Or depending if I find the right investors and shareholders and things like that. But Yorktown Mall, HIP, I think, Harlem Irving Plaza, and then there's one in Milwaukee, South Ridge or something.
Oh, yeah.
They all kind of contacted me. Yeah.
Well, it's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
It is. very good.
Yeah. I'm
Breathe deep.
hopeful. Thank you. It's been quite a wild ride. So.
Mike, you mentioned there wasn't any licensing required for this.
Nothing beyond a normal business license. so.
Okay, is there any sales tax revenue that would be generated by this operation?
That's kind of, it gets at the question that Chairman Morris asked. I don't know that now, but I do intend on figuring that out.
So they're asking for a special use permit.
Right.
And they're gonna get a business license. They can't open until the special use permit is approved. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, okay.
And why is a special use required?
Because, well, we needed to match this proposed business to what we thought was a comparable use in the zoning code. And an arcade using electronic devices seemed to be, from a zoning perspective, a reasonable match because it's instead of using a individual game where you put a quarter in, you're playing games on a computer, but from an impact in terms of the number of people and how this use will impact the surrounding area, that seemed to be a reasonable interpretation, and so that's what we applied. But it does require a special use permit. The good news is it was better than telling the gentleman, no, the zoning code doesn't permit it.
Right.
So.
And it isn't necessary because this is in the retail district, and it's not really retail.
Yeah, and this is, like an arcade, and I think, when you read the zoning code and you think about an arcade, you think those were provisions that were probably written 30 years ago, back when we really had arcades. And back then, it could attract a good number of people. And so that's a use that might be appropriate in some locations in the village, but not appropriate in other locations of the village or a particular zone district. That's why we have a special use.
Is there any reason why they can't approve the special use at the same meeting on June 1st?
Well, what they can do, and what I was going to suggest to Joe is, once the board has made a determination, and based on their comments at concept presentation, which was all positive, I'm anticipating the board won't change their mind and will end up approving it unanimously. We could ask permission that,
I see.
based on your approval and the fact that all we have to do is prepare an ordinance and put it on omnibus, can this business open 2 weeks earlier?
Oh, good.
And we've done that in the past,
I see.
and the board has generally been very
I
supportive
mean,
of that.
it's something new, it's something exciting, and it gets them in business 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and
When school's out.
Yeah, school's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, school's out, the camps are filling out. I have plans to run camps as well, esports camps. So in terms of timing, that would be helpful. So, yeah, thank you for that suggestion. I didn't know.
Right,
I was going to tell you after the.
okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, there's some technical things you have to do.
Okay.
This is a public hearing, so the first question is, we note that notices were sent out, and we received no comments as of the time of our packet. I assume that's still correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Secondly, we have in our packet what are called the section 18.3 criteria responses you provide us. Those are part of the record as well. Thirdly, as odd as this sounds, we have a letter from Hawthorne Mall, which quite candidly is probably not valid, but I guess we're going to assume it is because it's signed by a receptionist binding the mall, which I find a little peculiar. Does the mall actually, if they said yes to us on this, other than through a receptionist?
Yeah, yeah, that's the marketing agent that works for them all, is it?
It actually says
Yeah, it says
receptionist.
receptionist.
Point well taken. Thank you, Chairman Morris.
Okay. However, in their permitted use, they have a comment that the space is for virtual reality lounge. What is that?
So Facebook came out with the Oculus 2, and it's just like its own proprietary virtual reality goggles.
Right.
I just made two about 5x5 stations where people stand can play like Beat Saber or something like that. Yeah.
Because they have a condition that it cannot exceed 1,000 square feet.
Yes.
I don't know what that means for your business plan or.
Oh yeah, it's just it doesn't affect it. The problem was that Dave & Buster's had like a non-compete clause where I think they do VR as well. But yeah, it's way smaller than 1,000
So
square
does
feet.
apparently Cinnabon and the other place and a few other places. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a public hearing. I know we don't have a lot of the public here, but if anyone would like to say anything on behalf of or with respect to this, this is your opportunity. Boy, that was ringing. Okay, then we can close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Is there anything else you want to add?
Nope. Just
Okay.
Thank you guys for your time. Yeah.
Then what we have in this commission is we have a standing motion to recommend approval. So our motion would be to recommend approval of a special use permit to allow what is being termed an arcade for electronic games, subject to the conditions in our packet. Are you familiar, do you know what those conditions are? Or should
If you may remind me of them.
okay, it's basically that general compliance with the floor plan,
Yep.
number one. Two, that should you cease operation, the special use permit shall expire, which you probably don't care about. The permitted hours shall be the same as the normal hours for the mall.
Yep.
And finally, you'd comply with the other ordinances of the village.
Yes.
Okay.
I do have a question. I know malls frequently will require that their tenants, for example, if Black Friday, if the mall opens at 6, all the stores have to open at 6. They doing that to you too?
If they are, they haven't talked to me about it.
Because it's not uncommon for the, for
I
undercover
see.
malls. They're all gonna be shopping, the kids may as well go there. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay.
Thanks for the heads up.
So we need a second then for that motion?
I'll,
Go ahead.
I'll second.
Jim will second. Any discussion? Okay, we need a roll call then.
Commissioners Gorig,
Yes.
Hesner,
Yes,
Heidner,
Yes.
Chairman Morris.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We wish you the best of luck.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you all there.
what was your favorite instrument?
Ooh, violin.
Violin, wow.
Really?
Yeah, violin. I started playing when I was 5 and then piano when I was 7. So those are the instruments I
Virtual or real?
both. I'm just kidding. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
But thank you guys so much.
Okay, thank
Yep,
you and
have a
good
good
luck.
night. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any development review to discuss or review? Whoops.
On June 9th, we have 3 items lined up. I hope you don't mind. They all kind of landed around the same time.
Doesn't matter.
One of them is a water reservoir. That'll be the last item on the agenda. And
Where's
that's,
the water reservoir going to go?
you know where the maintenance facility is for White Deer Run? It's kind of just north of the EJ&G tracks. You really can't see it. There's an access road off of Greg's.
Right.
It'll be on the east side of that, just north of the tracks. You don't even know the parcel's there. It's actually a really good location, so.
Site of the old Mudline water
Right.
treatment plant.
Oh,
And then you remember South Lake Industrial Center, the Darling Farm development? They have a contract, there's an undeveloped portion of that parcel that is adjacent to Milwaukee Avenue. They have a contract to purchase the Forge Club to the south, and then an additional property to the north from Chuck Lamb Fair. I'm sure they got a really good deal on that. And they're assembling those properties to build an additional building.
I remember when for the Forge Club, when that townhouse development came here, it's like, oh God, that's not good.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many residential developers that we've chased away since then. It's because it's in, I think, Stevenson School District. I think that's the attraction, because they have the name recognition, although Vernon Hills High School is great,
Yes.
and it's highly rated.
But, I remember that one development was just shoehorning it in there, and it would not, those residents would have
Yeah.
not been happy.
No.
Yeah. So, the good news, we actually have an appropriate use for that site.
That's great news.
He was able to get the property to the north, which gets an access drive to Corporate Woods, which
That's
gets them
even
to
better.
gets them to a signalized intersection on Milwaukee.
That's always the issue, yeah.
And then the last one is, you probably remember when the mall did the redevelopment for AMC Theater, and that was right around the time they did a renovation for Dave & Buster's and Maggiano's. There was a special use permit approved for restaurants to serve alcohol, and there was an exhibit that delineated specific areas of the mall where those restaurants would have zoning in place to serve alcohol. Well, now they're going to come back to amend that ordinance to include Hawthorne Row, that's the Sears portion of the redevelopment, and then also the outlots along Milwaukee Avenue and Town Line Road. It makes perfect sense.
It does.
I actually had them include that lot where we have the mattress store. Not that I wish for a business to fail, but just in case they go away.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll
so,
line with mattresses.
and that's it. There's another one coming down the pike. It's called Antilia Scientific. They purchased Cole Palmer within the last year. They're in Continental Executive Park off of Lakeview Parkway. They want to expand the campus to the south and bring in a division of their company called Masterflex. It's light manufacturing. They do pumps and
That's good.
hoses and things like that to convey fluids in relation to medical equipment. That's a very layman's way of explaining what they do. So we're working with them. Just had them before the board last night for concept presentation. They got positive feedback.
That'll be attached to the existing building?
It'll be a separate building. And then they're siting it in a way where there could be room in the future to add off the existing or the new building, and then have enough parking too. So we're kind of working through all those details right now. And that's about it.
When is Benny's going to open?
Oh, gosh, they've got to be getting close, and I would say within, maybe the next 3 to 4 weeks or so.
It's
Liquor
gonna be-
Barn opens tomorrow.
Yes.
So they sped up somehow?
What was that?
I guess, yeah.
Liquor Barn opens tomorrow.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, Yeah, Benny's is a great tenant for that space.
No,
Oh
it's
my
perfect.
God, it's
Perfect.
perfect,
Yeah.
perfect, perfect. Yeah, it's just, I'm so happy. And what's nice is all the businesses around there now, people will notice them and hopefully
Yeah.
they'll go there.
Yep,
and
yep.
It's a win-win.
Sure is. So that's everything on the docket for now, though.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
Okay. Okay, then we have the approval of the minutes of November 11th, 2020. Any thoughts about those? If now we have a motion to approve, and you have a second.
I'll second.
We just by acclamation, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, those are approved. Second, approval of the minutes of April 14th, 2021. Any comments? If not, we have a motion to approve, and you have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I was
Okay.
not here, so I will present.
Okay, so those are approved then, and then if there's nothing else, we have a motion to adjourn. We need a second.
Second?
Any discussion on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Good night.
So I bought an Xbox. Dear God,